Number 1. Barry Allen remembering Wally West in DC Universe Rebirth. 2016 marked one of the biggest changes for DC Comics, the effective erasure of the timeline brought on by Flashpoint and sustained in the New 52. Wally West was reintroduced in DC Universe Rebirth. After the events of Flashpoint, West was trapped outside the timeline by Abracadabra, looking in on the events of the universe, with full knowledge of everything that had happened. Thanks to the events in Justice League 50 with the destruction of Darkseid, a crack in the New 52 reality appeared and Wally was able to penetrate the dimensional wall with the Speed Force and began making contact with people he knew. Nobody remembered him. One by one, people looked at the speedster in awe, not knowing who he was or where he came from as he traveled across the earth, searching for someone, anyone, that could remember him, all while recounting the lost and newly revealed history that the New 52 wiped away. Then he comes across Barry Allen. Just as he finishes saying his final goodbye, somehow Barry remembers Wally, saving him from his extra-dimensional prison and bringing him back into his rightful universe over the course of 10 of the most emotionally charged pages ever drawn. Number 2. In 1985, DC Comics decided to simplify their multiverse by effectively wiping it out and unifying all of their existing properties into the same singular universe with the 12-issue limited series Crisis on Infinite Earths by Marv Wolfman and the legendary George Perez. This also solved a lot of plot holes in the continuity of several characters, but that's a list for another time. Unification came at a cost, however, of the lives of two heroes, Supergirl more on her later and Barry Allen, the second Flash. Barry dies a hero's death. The big bad of Crisis, the Anti-Monitor, prepares a super weapon, the antimatter cannon, to fire at the 5 converging Earths, which will not only destroy the 5 realities of those Earths, but would permanently disrupt the structure of the multiverse as it existed at the time. Barry creates a speed vortex and is able to absorb the energy from the cannon into his own body as he becomes one with the Speed Force, saving the universe at the cost of his life. Number 3. The paralysis and implied rape of Barbara Gordon. In one of the darkest stories in the DC lexicon, The Killing Joke, the Joker strives to drive Commissioner Gordon into madness. Alan Moore and Brian Bolland take a psychological approach to the one-shot, giving the Joker an origin story, showing how everyone is just one bad day away from becoming a psychotic monster. That is the Joker's mission here, to make Gordon experience that one bad day by attacking that which he holds most dear, his daughter, Barbara. During the Joker's torture of Gordon, it's revealed that Barbara was photographed nude and bloody on the floor in some of the most disturbing images ever published in comics, making readers speculate if Barbara was raped by the Joker. Number 4. The death and return of Jason Todd. The second Robin, Jason Todd, is a bit of a controversial figure. Following in the footsteps of Dick Grayson, now Nightwing, he was never really as popular as his teenage dreamboat predecessor. This gave Dennis O'Neil, the editor for Batman at the time, an idea, and thus the infamous storyline Batman: A Death in the Family was born. After a visually brutal beating at the hands of the Joker, who leaves Robin to die in an explosion at the end of the second issue of the 4-issue arc, there were 1-900 numbers listed, allowing fans to vote on whether Jason Todd lived or died. Jason Todd's death was determined by a 72-vote margin and was met with shock, awe, and outrage by fans, the media, and even comic creators. This had never been done in comics before, and DC stuck to the fan vote. Until post-Crisis times at the hands of Judd Winnick and his arc Under the Hood, Jason stayed dead. Hood revolves around the identity of a new Red Hood that made his rounds in Gotham City, only to be revealed to be an emotionally charged Jason Todd who wants to effectively make Batman obsolete by taking lethal measures when fighting crime, presumably so another Robin doesn't have to go through what he did. Number 5. Superman stopping a suicide. In probably one of the most powerful Superman issues ever, Superman 701 part of the Superman Grounded series, which admittedly is a little lackluster, Superman confronts a jumper, and rather than snatching her up and taking her to safety, he listens to her. This is a beautiful arc that delivers when it comes to portraying suicidal thoughts with compassion. Number 6. The death of Arthur Curry's son. In quite possibly the most messed up death in DC Comics history, we meet Arthur Curry Jr., aka Aquababy. Yes, really. Up until 1977, the notion of straight-up murdering anyone, let alone an infant, in comics was a rare notion, but Adventure Comics 452 changed that. Black Manta kidnaps Aquababy and places him in a chamber that slowly fills with air, suffocating him slowly over time. Manta forces Aquaman and Aqualad to fight each other to save Junior's life, but it's too late. By the time the fight ends, Aquababy is dead, Aquaman and Aqualad's relationship is ruined, and Mera now mourns her infant son. This event eventually leads to the divorce of Aquaman and Mera. Number 7. Blackest Night. Blackest Night doesn't get enough credit for reviving the spirit of what the SHT just happened in comics. In the 2000s, DC Comics was blessed with the arrival of Geoff Johns, who took to reinvigorating several titles, namely The Flash and Green Lantern. With Johns at the helm, the lore of the Green Lantern Corps grew exponentially, introducing the emotional spectrum of light and the 6 other Lantern Corps that were established across the universe. All of this was preparation for one of the most emotionally charged events in the DC Universe, Blackest Night. Without going too far into the lore, a creature called Nikron reanimates the dead, humans and superheroes alike, and tries to eliminate all life from the universe. Creepy, right? Here's where it gets really messed up. Any character that was brought back to life is also subject to its control. To give you an idea, Superman, Green Arrow, Wonder Woman, Superboy, and Bart Allen are all vulnerable to Nikron's control, who at this point is manipulating Batman and vomiting Black Lantern rings. Watching heroes fight against their friends is hard enough, but when readers realize the majority of the core Justice League and Titans just became zombies, this became an instant page-turner.